2 at once? Wow.
Were you expecting this?
Shut up. You're having twins?
Twins? Well, I guess that means double trouble.
So you're going to need 2 of everything?
All right, friends, your girl's back. Welcome to Expecting Times 2. If you listened to last week's episode, I admitted that launching a podcast is so hard. I thought it was going to be super easy. So I told myself I was not allowed to record the second episode until I fully edited the first episode. And I'm not even going to lie, it's embarrassing how long that took me. I am the least tech-savvy person probably in my household, and that even includes my 8-month-old son. So that was a challenge, but I made it through. So here we are. I am 12 weeks pregnant today. I'm sorry I didn't tape a 10-week episode. I was editing, but we'll go over a couple things for a 10-week twin pregnancy. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I decided to title this episode Nausea, Heartburn, and Twin Belly Laughs. The nausea and the heartburn has been so real. I don't want to always get on this podcast and be complaining about all of the bad things, because that's why I'm launching this, is because I want to have humor and not talk about the bad things. But your girl's got to be real with you. The nausea is like, whew, Unisom. It has become like my best friend. I have a little bottle of it by my bed. And that's so funny because I am by no means a pill popper. I barely take an ibuprofen if I have a raging headache. But I've had to ask my doctor 4 times now. I'm like, are you sure Unisom is safe for the babies? And she always laughs because I ask her. I've been asking her that forever now, throughout my entire first pregnancy, now through this pregnancy. And it's the only thing at night that seems to take the nausea away. Still on the cereal, not going to lie. And then the heartburn has just kicked in. There's a lot of tips and tricks to manage heartburn. There's a ton out there. I know some people are still on Tums. I know some people have gotten a prescription from their doctor because it's so bad. I've heard apple cider vinegar diluted in a little bit of water will help. For me, fennel seeds. Fennel seeds have been a game changer. It's an old school remedy for acid reflux and Ayurveda. It's really helped me. They taste great, in my opinion. They taste like little licorice Tic Tacs. So if you've tried other stuff or over-the-counter stuff and you're like, this is just not working, go to your local spice shop, get good fennel, and just take a small pinch of it and just chew it after meals. It seems to be helping. Anyways, okay, so the shock has started to dissipate. That entire first episode was fully just about the shock that my husband and I were in finding out we were having twins. I think taping that episode, to be honest, it really helped me just kind of calm down. I hope that hearing that episode helped you calm down. It just kind of reminded me okay, I've got this. This again is a miracle. So the shock has started to go down. I'm not going to lie and say the shock is totally gone, but it started to go down and the excitement is starting to go up. So I will totally take that. The trimester 1 hormone swings. Whew. Honestly, I hope my husband doesn't listen to this episode. I actually feel for him. I think he's scared of me right now. I think he feels like he's walking on eggshells at all times around our house. I am a ticking bomb. It is crazy the things that will set me off. I will be in a great mood. I'll be in the kitchen, washing fruit, looking at him feeding our son and laughing, and then maybe a little bit of the water splashes on my shirt and I'm just a raging machine. And that is not who I am. I'm actually a very predictable person. What you see is what you get. I wake up happy every day. Yes, everybody, I can be a bitch. I have mood swings. I have all of those things. But generally speaking, I'm pretty even keel. I am not right now. I'm like crying over the littlest things. I'm second guessing my existence in life. And then what, after I have an episode, is that what we should call it? Makes me sound like I really do belong in a loony bin. Um, Maybe an hour later, I can actually stop and look at myself and be like, that was wild. Like that was crazy. And I need to get better at admitting that to my husband. I need to probably like walk into his office and be like, wow, so that was crazy. Who was that girl that just came out? But instead, I just find myself like looking in the mirror and laughing to myself and being like, well, that was crazy. So I don't really have anything to actually be mad at. I just think I'm having these crazy hormone swings. They're just wild. So if you're having those too and you're like being wild to your partner, your best friend, your coworkers, if you have a hard time apologizing like I do, maybe just leave a little sticky note. You know, like I think tomorrow near the coffee maker, I'm going to leave a little sticky note to my husband that's like, hey, I know I've kind of been psycho. I'm never going to admit it to you face to face, but take this as my little I'm sorry. Love you. Here's your coffee. And then we shall never talk about it again. But the hormone swings, they're just wild. For me, they're the most wild in trimester 1. So I'm really looking forward to trimester 2. Again, I'm 12 weeks today. So I think I have like one more week. I don't know. It's like borderline. I feel like I'm moving out of trimester 1 right now. But yeah, looking forward to trimester 2, getting some energy back, getting off Unisom, putting the fennel away, and hopefully just feeling a little bit lighter. 10 weeks, 10-week appointment. If you are heading into your 10-week appointment, you probably are going to get asked about some testing that you would like to do. These tests are totally optional. I know that they vary in state to state what they're called. In the state of Colorado, at least with my doctor, it's called Natera. I know in Utah, it's called Unity. So it's called different things, but essentially it's screening tests to find out if your pregnancy is at a higher risk for specific chromosome conditions. I know for us, our insurance does not cover it. We had to pay out of pocket. I think roughly $350 was the cost of the test. It's a hard decision. I think a lot of times people will say, well, you have to do it. Of course you have to do it. Don't you want to know? And maybe you don't. Maybe your answer is, I don't actually want to know. You know, I don't. If you're like, yes, I absolutely want to know, I'm getting the blood work done right away, I respect that too. But I think just generally we need to meet more people where they're at instead of pushing our own views onto them as to why we think they should or should not do something. So again, for our family, we decided that it was the best thing to do. So I did do the blood work at my 10-week appointment, and we get the results this week. It takes about 7 to 10 business days to get the results. I find it's more like 10 to 12 business days, to be honest. But the waiting can be a little bit tough. You know, you're kind of like, oh, okay, what if this or what if this or what if this? But I think whatever decision you make, just stick to it. If you decide not to get the test, just trust that decision. If you decide to get the test in that waiting period, there's nothing you can do. There's no point in stressing. There's no point in having any anxiety. You'll get the results when you get the results. I will say, though, if you have more questions and your doctor or your nurse doesn't have time to go over all of this with you, most of these companies, because they'll give you the name of them, they have genetic counselors that you can speak with and schedule calls with. I know for ours, which again was Natera, we could literally just go online and book our own appointment and like just set up a call with a genetic counselor before we took the test, as well as after we took the test in case we had questions. Again, that's just another option if you're debating if you should get this test or not, or if you just have a couple more questions about it. So with this genetic testing, we get to find out genders and we get to find out whether they're identical or fraternal. I have so much respect for women that wait to find out the gender until they deliver. That is like most of my friends. I'm like, you're crazy. I love you for this. I respect it. I think that's so cool. You're wild. How are you doing that? Like, every day is a new surprise for me. Every day, every moment, every feeling, every emotion, every like, oh, those pants don't fit anymore. Well, this isn't working anymore. I'm like, oh, I gotta know the babies. I gotta know the genders, and I have to know if they're identical, and I have to know if they're fraternal. I have to know everything. My husband and I are taking guesses. We actually both think we have a boy and a girl. That's what we think. And then friends of mine think I'm having two girls, identical. So it's funny. It's a fun game to guess with family members. You know, I know some people, if they're going to do like a gender reveal for those you're inviting, if you are inviting people or if you just want to include family, send out a little text, send out a little Google sheet, have people guess what they think it is. I always think that's fun because with Jude, so many people in my life were like so positive they knew. Like, nope, I'm positive it's a girl. Or nope, I'm positive it's a boy. And it was just funny in the end to see who was right and who wasn't. Because in the end, no one really knows, right? No one knows. You're just guessing at this point. But that's our guess. We think we're having one boy and one girl. I always think it's funny when you ask people when they're waiting to figure out the gender of their baby or babies, what they want. You know, you're like, do you want a boy or a girl? And people are like, I just want them healthy. Like, yes, we all want our babies just healthy, of course. But you're lying. You want something. You want either a boy or you want either a girl, even if it's just like 1%, if it's 51 to 49%, one gender or the other. Don't lie. Everybody wants a specific gender. For me, I really want two boys. I like whispering that. I love girls. I have a niece that I love so much, and she's so fun, and the bond she has with my sister is so cool. I love being a boy mom. I just love it. I also think with the kids being so close in age, I fear if it's a boy and a girl, that the girl will always feel left out, or God forbid it's two girls, that Jude will always feel left out. So I'm rooting for the two boys, which whenever I tell people that, they think it's so funny. They're like, you want a house of 3 boys? I'm like, bring it on. Let's just bring it on. I love their energy. I love that they always want to play. I love that it's just go, 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 go. That's very much me. So I'm hoping that we have 2 boys. Yes, if it's 2 girls, I'll have to like remove this from the podcast. So when they're older, they don't hear this and say, Mom, you didn't even want to have 2 girls. But I also would be super happy with a boy and a girl. I thought it would be fun to talk about some facts about twins and twin pregnancies, and then also some myths and just debunking some of these common misconceptions. Some of these you might already know. Most of them I did not know because I knew nothing, I should say, about twin pregnancies. But now, of course, I'm learning so much. Some of these are really interesting. Some of them are bummer zone. So let's dive in. Myth number 1, twins come from the father's side. That's a total myth. Twins actually come from the mom's side. So if the twin gene pool is within your mom's family tree, your chances double for trouble. I said twins land on me on both sides because there's twins on my father's side of the family and there's twins on my mother's side of the family. But I guess it doesn't really matter that there's twins on my father's side of the family. Next rumor, myth, is that twins skip a generation. This is negative. They are hereditary, of course, but this is so funny because I've been saying forever, oh yeah, twins skip a generation, because that's actually how it's fallen in my family, especially on my mom's side. So I just assumed that was correct, but my husband and I did a deep dive because I was so certain. I was like, no, I know I'm correct. And I was not correct. That is absolutely not true. Another myth, twin pregnancy delivery is only possible through a C-section. I was very happy to hear that this is a myth. When we first found out we were pregnant with twins, I think even in that appointment, I said to my doctor, all right, well, we'll just schedule the C-section for September. And I really wanted the date. Our due date is 10/6. I really wanted the babies to come, if they're ready and fully cooked, by September 9th, because my husband's birthday is 6/6. I'm 8/8, and I just love numbers. So I thought 9/9 would be fun. And she's like, why are you so quick to jump to a C-section? I said, well, I thought that was just like a requirement with twins. It's definitely not. So I was very happy to hear that that's far from the truth, that you have to have a C-section. She said you can absolutely deliver your twins vaginally. You can even deliver your twins naturally. Obviously, we're a long ways from there. So it'll depend on the positioning of the twins, my health, the health of the twins, so many different factors. But I'm a little nervous for the C-section process. I need to learn more about it in case that ends up happening. But I was just happy to hear that there are other options on the table, even just to mentally keep that in the back of my mind and just put that worry about the C-section behind me for now, because there's no point in worrying about it until we get further along. I will say one thing that is true is that twin pregnancies have a longer labor duration. It's often longer than singleton pregnancies. The uterus needs to contract more forcefully. You got to get 2 babies out of there. And I have heard that oftentimes one baby comes out and then the other little baby's like, oh, I'm going to change positions. What's going on here? So it can take a little bit longer. But again, that's nothing we need to worry about right now, right? This is not a myth. This is a fact. If you have one set of twins, you're more likely to have another set of twins. I think if I would have had twins my first go around and the doctor said there's a high probability, well, I don't know, because I haven't had twins, but there's a high probability you're going to have them again, I might be like, okay, we're a 2-kid kind of family. But I just thought this was interesting. The statistic is if you had fraternal twins, you have a 4 to 6% chance of having another set of twins. I guess that number goes down if you have identical twins, but that's just interesting to me. Shout out to any of those mamas, parents that have 2 sets of twins. You're a warrior. That's a miracle. Another one that's kind of a myth, but also a truth, you always give birth early to twins and they're always small. I have met some women recently who have carried to term, which with a twin pregnancy is 36 to 37 weeks, unlike a singleton pregnancy, which is 40 weeks. And their babies were the exact same weight as my son Jude, who was roughly 6 pounds, 6 ounces. So you can carry to term. You do not have to have a baby that goes to the NICU. I think that a lot of times with twins, we're heard that they always come early and that they're always small. And it sounds like that's only the case with about 50% of twin pregnancies. All right, another myth about twin pregnancies, which I gotta be honest, this one's kind of a bummer one. You have to eat double the calories when pregnant with twins. That's a myth. Boring. I eat healthy. I love a good salad. I love fruit. I love to take walks, blah, 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 blah. In this pregnancy so far, to be fair, I've had a lot of morning sickness. I'm coming out of that now, and I'm finding that mama's got an appetite. And not an appetite for a garden salad, not an appetite for a fruit bowl. No, an appetite for a chocolate croissant, an appetite for a very good slice of pizza, extra thin crust, an appetite for tacos. So, bummer, we don't need to eat double the calories. We do, of course, need to increase our caloric intake, but not as much as you probably think. Myth. You can't exclusively breastfeed twins. This one was interesting to me. I had a lot of questions around breastfeeding. I have breastfed my son Jude. It's a lot of work, yes, but I also loved it. I loved breastfeeding. I plan to do that again with the twins. And I have so many questions. People keep saying, you do tandem feeding and your body will definitely be able to make enough milk for 2 babies. I had really bad engorgement with my first son. I think my body thought I had triplets. I was walking around bigger than Pamela Anderson for a solid 3 or 4 days. It was insane. When I breastfed my son, his head literally looked like a marble next to my boobs. It was wild. So I'm very interested to see what the engorgement is going to look like with 2 babies. But I was happy to hear that many mothers successfully breastfeed with twins. If you're thinking about this, or you're a little nervous, or you have questions, look up the Lactation Network. The Lactation Network offers breastfeeding and lactation support. My insurance fully covered it with my son Jude. I had a wonderful experience. My lactation consultant, she came to my house. She gave me tons of advice. I was able to text her if I had a question. Like, I remember I got a really bad migraine and needed to take Excedrin migraine, and I wasn't sure if I could take that while breastfeeding, and I would text her. She'd get back to me right away. It's a wonderful service. I highly recommend it if you're considering breastfeeding or you have questions and you just want to explore it. You just go to lactationnetwork.com. You can type in your insurance. They actually will match you with someone within a certain radius of where your house is, and they'll send someone over to you. I think our first visit, I was maybe 30 weeks pregnant with Jude. So they sent someone pretty early because I had quite a few questions. And then she stayed with me up until Jude was 6 months old. They will also weigh the baby so that you know how much milk the baby is getting per feeding, per breast. It's just really helpful. So huge shout out to Lactation Network. I recommend them to everybody. They've been a huge support to me. So just check it out. Hopefully your insurance will also cover it. This was one of my favorite facts about twins, that they actually live longer. I think that's so sweet. They attribute it to the social support and companionship that twins provide each other. I love that. I love thinking about that. I love thinking that my babies, they're going to have each other forever, and that they're going to have such a special bond. I think there's such a beautiful miracle in that. I have siblings. I have sisters. I'm very close to all of them. We talk every day. I can't imagine the closeness of even twins if that's how close my sisters and I are. So that's a really beautiful, exciting thing to look forward to. Let's talk about a couple fun things about the little babes at 12 weeks. So they're currently the size of 2 limes. 2 little limes. Like, put your fists together and look at your fist, a little bit smaller than that. In my mind, I'm like, that's crazy. That's pretty big. All of their internal organs are formed, as well as their little fingers and toes. I am so excited. We're having our 13-week ultrasound next week. I cannot wait to see the little babies. I will say that has been one of my favorite parts so far about this twin pregnancy. I love that we get to have so many ultrasounds. I know so many like natural, midwives and doulas, and a lot of people that are a little bit more holistic think it's not good for the babies to have this many ultrasounds, but I'm just going to turn my head to that and just pretend I don't know that and I didn't hear that, because I love seeing them. So I'm so excited to see them at 13 weeks, the little fingers and toes. Their liver is beginning to work, and their kidneys are actually producing urine. Maybe that's the reason I'm going to the bathroom already 8 times in the middle of the night nonstop. Not a fun part of pregnancy. Their intestines are settling into the rightful places inside their abdomen, and their brain is developing rapidly. Speaking of brain development, speak to your doctor. Hopefully by now you're on a prenatal that you really like, which, by the way, normal to kind of have to shop around for prenatals. I had to try a few different ones. However, I don't recommend changing really past your first trimester. Again, not a doctor, don't have official medical advice for you. Talk to your doctor about it. I made that mistake in my first pregnancy and had a couple of issues, let's just say, by switching, I think when I was 25 weeks pregnant. So if you don't love your prenatal now, maybe use the next week or so to play around with a different prenatal, but then I would really just stick to it. But you have folic acid inside of your prenatal. But my doctor said, with 2 And with brain development, you need a little bit extra. So I am taking an additional 400 milligrams of folic acid every day. Up to you. Again, talk to your doctor about it. But brain development, I mean, that's an important one. Switching topics here, a couple of to-dos when you're 12 weeks pregnant. My first suggestion would be write down questions you have for your doctor. Start a little running list in your phone. My husband and I have one. We just have a note that is a shared note, so he can write things, I can write things. We can both make adjustments. Or if you're old school, which I love, get a little notepad and start writing questions on there that you can bring to your next appointment. You think you will remember them because you're like, oh, this is such an important question. You won't, unfortunately. I will think of something I want to ask my doctor, and then 3 hours later, I'll literally go up to my husband and be like, what did I say I needed to write down again? I don't even remember. This will just make it easier when you get there. You'll have a little checklist of questions that you want to ask your doctor to ensure you don't forget anything. This one might seem a little bit crazy since we're only 12 weeks pregnant, but if you were thinking you're going to want a daycare option for the twins, I would start calling around now. This obviously varies depending on what state and city that you live in, but my husband and I decided the other day to call around some daycares in the Denver area, just more out of curiosity to compare daycare versus a nanny. And we were shocked. Most of the daycares that we called in our surrounding area, it was anywhere from a 9 to a 15-month wait list. And to get on that wait list, you had to pay anywhere from $100 to $500 to add your kid's name. Again, this varies city to city, state to state. Maybe you already know what you're going to do for childcare, or you're like, you know what, I don't even want to cross that bridge right now. But again, if there's a 9-month wait list and you're thinking, okay, I might want to explore the option of daycare, you can always decline it if you get off the wait list, but it might be a good option to just start calling around. If you have multiple kids, I will say they do give, a lot of these daycare centers will give a discount. It's not huge. It seems to be like 10% off. So if you have an older kid, or even if you're just having twins, you'll have 2 kids in daycare. Just ask them if they have any sort of family plan or deals if you're going to be enrolling more than 1 kid. Get maternity clothes. That's my next to do for everybody. I am still in my regular clothes right now. I'm starting to pop, but I have a feeling this shit's gonna go fast. So you want to have some options on hand. I'm a big fan of buying cheap maternity clothes because I tend to just burn through them, considering this is the second year I'm going to be pregnant during a very hot summer. And then I like to rent cute maternity clothes for events I might have, baby shower, friends' birthdays, maybe just a date night. I suggest Nuuly, Nuuly. I know there's various rental sites out there. I've just always had a great experience with Nuuly, and I find that their maternity stuff is super cute. Another to-do, something to just be thinking about, is your solution for sexy constipation. I have a feeling that it's going to be rearing its pretty little head soon. So you want to have a plan so that you're not caught off guard when this happens. Talk to your doctor about what their preference is. My doctor's pretty laid back and chill and has made a couple different suggestions, anything from just old school stool softeners and old school fiber. I always call it Mucinex. That's not what the name of it is. I can't think of it right now. Pregnancy brain. I actually just bought a new type of fiber called Fluorosophy. I'm going to try it. I'll report back, let you know what I think of it. But the fiber at the grocery store just does not cut it for me. At least it didn't in my first pregnancy. So just something to think about. If you're like, I am not there, everything is regular flowing right now, I am so happy for you. But just be prepared that that might change and you'll want to have some options. Okay, my last suggestion of something to do 12 weeks pregnant is fun. I would start thinking of baby names. I know none of us know the genders yet, or maybe you're not going to find out the genders. I started a list about a week ago, and I'm having so much fun with it. It's making me laugh. I love asking friends for their opinion. I love adding random names that I'm really into one day, and then 3 days later I'm like, no, I would never name my child that. But it's just something fun that I think makes this a little bit more real since, well, it is real. Who am I kidding? But since we don't have bumps yet, we're not feeling them kick, and maybe you haven't told a lot of people or coworkers or really outside members of your family yet, this is just kind of something that you can hold secret to you, maybe share it with your partner. That's fun. Who doesn't like to think about cute baby names? All right, everyone, I will be back for 14 weeks, the big gender reveal. Dun, dun, dun.